Can you just walk us through the kind of approach that you might use to make certain decisions about the diet? I mean, how would you change diet formulations?
I think most nutritionists start out with they find what they feel the most comfortable with, whether that's the recommendations from the old NRC or from one of the breeding companies, or maybe from a Maryland Nutrition Conference years ago that had some really good numbers. And they take those numbers and put that in the formulation, start running in the field, and then start to look at the feedback they're getting. You know, are they getting the growth they need? Are they getting the yield they need? What is mortality and feed conversion and other factors that are being measured? And then they may make adjustments based on that.
So you and I have been working together over the last few years a bit, and you've had some really helpful insights in the Verax platform that we've been building. So you had some insider information on the biomarkers and the way that we're capturing data and so on. What's your sort of reflection, you know, from thinking of the history that you have and as a commercial nutritionist with Verax or tools like Verax? How do you see that? Is it adding significant value, or?
I think so. I think that we've spent years. Most of the data we get, we either, like I said, wait to get it from research, or we wait to get it from laboratories, and we send samples off. We're always questioning, how was the sample taken? Was it a good sample? Did the lab do a good job? Typically, you may split samples and send them to different labs, and you may get very different results, and it makes it more unclear than it was when you started. So the more I look at Verax and think about this system, it makes me believe that the future is looking at what the response is in the bird. And so typical of how, you know, as humans, when we go to the doctor doesn't ask us, what'd you eat? Write down everything you ate and let's figure out what your intake was for different. What he does is he takes a blood sample, he looks at different blood parameters, and then he says, you need to modify your diet maybe, or you're eating too much of this or that or whatever, and that's how we adjust ourselves. And I kind of see that the future for nutrition, and part of that is going to be looking at these blood parameters to know where we are.
How does this kind of novel data source, does it gel teams together more likely, or is it going to create more conflict, or you know, do you see in general, is there an appetite for more clarity, more data?
What I've seen is that, for instance, the veterinarians seem to look at the data and really like that sort of data, and then they discuss it with the nutritionist in a different way than they talk about other things. It's not so much trying to figure out who's to blame. It's more of, hey, look what happened. This is the results. What can we do? Yeah. And so I think that in that sense, it can really help to bring those teams to work together.
In your experience of working as part of the Verax team, albeit as an independent consulting outside-in view, is there anything surprising or particularly exciting that you've seen that you might want to comment on?
Well, I mean, to me, the whole thing's exciting. I think we all have seen that it's a novel way to look at things, but I think it's time that this is how the industry is going to move forward. I think that as companies see the value and the power of looking at this sort of data and what it can do to help their live production, that they'll get excited about it as well.
Yeah. If you can sort of rewind to when you were a commercial nutritionist, Verax aside for the moment, can you think what would be the one question that you would really have liked to have got to the bottom of in the birds, you know, from a nutrition point of view that's maybe missing?
There's several recurring things that happen in the poultry industry. And we've never been able to really satisfy ourselves as to why. One of them is kind of the October-November slump that we blamed for years on the weather, and well, it's winter's coming and housing is not good. And now we have great housing and we still see the same thing. So obviously that's not the whole answer. And so I see a real opportunity to solve problems like this, where we can look at data that's different than what we've had in the past, and maybe that's where we'll finally find these answers.